To investigate guns getting into the wrong hands and being used in violent crimes.
Sometimes it even happens illegally, I should say. It's becoming far too common, even on Oklahoma streets.
2 Works for You investigator Giselle Puente digs deeper into loopholes in the background check system.
Every day, local law enforcement is working closely with state and federal agencies to ensure that firearms don't get in the hands of the wrong people. But even those prohibited to have a firearm still find a way. It was the beginning of 2013 when Tulsa witnessed one of its most heinous crimes. 4 women shot execution style with their hands tied behind their backs. The man behind the murder, 2 brothers, Cedric and James Poor, who are now serving life in prison. The oldest one had 6 prior felony convictions at the time of the shooting. Someone who wasn't supposed to have a gun or be around one. The problem is, investigators never found the murder weapon.
If a gun's recovered at the scene of a crime, that gun can be traced and tell us who the original purchaser of that gun was.
Very seldom are guns recovered, so to trace back how the firearm got into the wrong hands, it's not as easy as you might think.
There is no gun database, so to speak, on gun owners or whatnot. But what ATF does, we have the ability to trace a firearm from the manufacturer through the gun store process to the original purchaser.
Justin Demarie, an agent with the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, says tracing can be tedious and a lengthy process.
We are pretty thin. We rely on local law enforcement and our other local federal partners.
Our investigation revealed not all guns that are in the hands of criminals were stolen. Criminals can still get their hands on them through legal means. When applying for a gun, criminals are not honest when filling out paperwork.
The thing is, criminals aren't going to tell the truth. They don't care. Have you bought a gun here before?
Inside Donk's gun store in Tulsa, the owner, David Stone, explains how he looks at more than just the documents, that there are other red flags.
So what we try to do is watch body language of people. He can't have a gun, so he brings in his girlfriend or some girl he met on the street to come do the paperwork for him. You know, the first question is, are you the actual buyer of the firearm? Well, if you're buying it for somebody else, you're going to say you are, but you're actually, a straw purchase.
The FBI's background check is meant to be the first deterrent to keep guns away from somebody who shouldn't. More than 1.5 million checks have been denied by the FBI in the past 10 years. But sometimes that fails.
And if you have somebody that, say, maybe has a very common name, it takes a while to see if that's the person that actually has the felony conviction or whatever.
The ATF then has to track down the person who purchased it. They either clear any warning signs that popped up or they seize the weapon.
I'm sure the store that sold them that feels really bad, but they did everything legal. They did the person did the paperwork, they called it in, it passed the background check.
That's just one piece of the puzzle. Prohibited possessors are also getting their hands on guns through private party sales, where there is no background check required. If an investigation leads agents to a successful trace of the weapon and recovery, the job doesn't stop there.
I can tell you federally here in Tulsa, we have a very, very aggressive U.S. Attorney's Office who takes a hard stance on violent crime and illegal possessors.
In the U.S., a convicted felon in possession of a firearm can be punished up to 10 years in prison. While the gun that was used to kill the 4 women at the Fairmont Terrace apartments may never be found, there is no way to ever know how these men even got the murder weapon to begin with. The FBI lists the reasons why some people fail federal gun background checks. For a breakdown of that information, log on to our website, kjrh.com. Giselle Puente, 2 Works for You.